Today I'm going to paint this. It's a place in the Cotswolds in the west of England, a place called Ebley, right on the escarpment in the Cotswold, the Vale of the Cotswolds, Severn Vale I should say, in the Cotswolds, just on the edge of it. But it's an old canal there, and it looks like old mill buildings in the distance there with the chimney. But there's a lot of lovely colour there and lots of shadows and strong shapes. A lot of opportunity for some nice colour. Look at the sky and look at the light on the left hand side of that tree and the face of this old mill building here. Light colours, lovely yellows, dark greens here, and the pathway takes our eye in. There's some good perspective lines here, and the nice bridge, reddish colour there, red and bricks and texture here and shadow, and nice bright bit of blue sky there, but some cloud structure as well. So anyway, I'm going to sketch that in first of all, roughly, and then I'll come back and we'll start the painting in oils. I'm doing this, and this is a 10 by 12 canvas panel. Well, you can see I've mapped out the rough sketching, really, just blocking in. Just to see whether I've got whether the composition is going to work. I think I've got the main shapes, which is the objective at this point, is to get all the shapes in. I think I've done that. These colours that I've got at the moment, they don't represent what it's going to be like. At the end, of course, these are just to cover some of the canvas. I've got all this white canvas glaring at me, so I think we're just going to let's try and kill off some of the whiteness just glaring at us, because it's very difficult to judge your colours and your tones when you've got so much white, which is obviously the way it is at the outset. So I think I'm just going to continue blocking in with some more, and I'm using some liquid, Winsor & Newton liquid, which helps the paint flow off your brush a little easier. I'm using water mixable oils. I suppose I could use some water, but the mixable paints, water mixable, does make it a lot easier to clean up when you finish your painting session. So let's just rough in some scrubbing this, really. Just too much of here. Although I want to keep some of the lights down this section. Is going to have we'll get sort of blues, also reflection of the sky, I should say, really. So again, let's just scrub it in, and we've got some vegetation here, which I've sort of roughly scrubbed in with my flat brush here. This is a flat, number 4 flat. So it's got quite an edge on it, so I can get some nice straight edges as and when I need it. Let's just wipe my brush off a minute and get some blue into this section here. So I'm going to take a little bit of cerulean blue and some liquid, and see what we get. Oh yes, that's not so bad. It goes right under the bridge as well. So these are just approximations on tone at the moment. So we'll fine tune it as we go. So a little bit of titanium white there, just to lighten up my blue a little bit. I'm using my little Prochard box at the moment. It's a handy little tool which you mainly for use on plein air out in the open, but works equally well if you want to paint at a somewhat smaller scale. So I use it here as well. I've got a full French easel which I have used, but this doesn't take up so much room. If I'm just painting on this smallish scale, it works okay. So, and this area is very dark as well, so we will pick some Payne's grey up here, mix with my cerulean. I think I'm going to put a bit more Payne's grey. Get some of my darks in. And my finer finishing of the water will be some brights, some sort of sparkle you can put in with some whites, but we're far too early for that at this point. So we'll just, and here I'll have reflections of these buildings. They're a nice sort of yellowy colour as well, but let's just get this in for the moment. You want to keep your strokes at the final stages horizontal. Water to represent the flatness of the water. So I'm just working the sort of general at the moment, sort of general laying in. And get down to the nitty gritty as you go. But you can approximate the colours as you go. I'm using some sap green here to try and represent some of the vegetation, and some ochre which I've got just in this section. Some nice canal path vegetation. Got a little bit of phthalo green there, which is quite fierce. And I've got green off to the right here. Let's clean off my brush a little bit. That's far too, that's what I want, something much lighter. I think we can pull it out a little bit. So a bit more of my sap green. Some greens coming up here on this edge. So I'm vary the green mixture with some umber. Put some more ochre, give you different colours, different greens. I've got quite a dark green here, so I'm going to mix some, put a bit of Payne's grey, a little bit of ultramarine there to give me a nice darker green, which I need coming up this wall and here. Also got some greens coming along here, but they need to be much lighter because we've got the sunshine is on this side of the bank. So let's see what we can do there. Bit of phthalo. Comes a little bit there. Right. Let's push on and get this done here. And this pathway is sort of russety colour. So I think I'm going to put some of that in right away. So I'm going to use some burnt sienna. Yes, I think we can do that. Burnt sienna. And this section is a little dark because it's in shadow. It comes from this building here. It's casting a shadow. So I'm going to get a bit more of my ultramarine and my burnt sienna to make a little bit more darker tone on my pathway there. It's quite a strong dark colour. All this in shadow. I'm becoming a little lighter out there where the sun is getting it, so I'll just have a little bit of titanium there. To lighten our path way. And this, we can do the same here. So I'm going to get some white titanium. Just gently scrub this in. There are sort of hints of blue in it as well. So let's get a bit of more liquid going. To help your paint come off. I need a little bit of darker colour here so I can bring that shadow right up to the edge of the canal there. Because it's all shadow. And let's get some more burnt sienna in here. It's a nice pathway here. Nice to cycle along. Right, that's better. So we can do finer texture as we go. We needn't fuss too much at the moment. I need to complete my bit of green here. So as you see, it's gradually taking shape, but like a lot of, very often in painting, they go through an ugly phase, for want of a better word. And how is this going to come to anything? But you'll be surprised. Now where I'm on greens, I noticed some quite dark greens here, vegetation there. I just tap it down. I'm going to complete this all in one session. This is, as they say, alla prima. So that gives it some challenges, of course, because you're putting wet on wet paint, which is can be a problem. Not so easy always to lay it down on wet paint. It's got to be, you can let it dry off a little bit actually. That's often, and take a little pause where it becomes a little tackier. You can do that. That's often the way. And along here, just along here, there's a fence. So that is quite dark, and you can use that to take our eye in. So I have to keep wiping my brush because I don't want to disturb the paint below. So much higher here. It's a sort of wrought iron fence. Again, we can put more detail as we go. Our roof here. Put some tiling there and tidy that up as we go. There's a big drain pipe down there. Bit early for these details, but got some black or some Payne's grey. Don't often use black, but Payne's grey there. Well, I've got here, and also we've got some quite dark areas under this tree. But let's get and put some colour into these buildings now. This one here is quite a bright red actually, so I'm going to use some cadmium red and a little bit of ochre, and just block in this brickwork here. I think we have a bit more ochre, a bit more cadmium, perhaps a touch of crimson alizarin as well. I can hint at some brickwork later, but not for the moment. We're just blocking in still, really. And this building here is a slightly lighter brick, so we can do that. I'm making it sufficiently different in tone, so I've got a contrast with this building here. I think in reality it was a little bit redder than I'm showing, but I need to make sure I've got this contrast so it stands out as a different building. We can do that, and then marking its roof line, which comes down like this. I'm peering at my reference. As I said, it's only a reference. You don't have to slavishly follow it. Interesting little structure there. So with this brush, it's a flat there, but you can turn it side on and you can use that. So it's quite a big brush really, which I'm using. It's a way to make your painting more spontaneous and light, looser if you use a bigger brush. Depends on the style that you're interested in doing. And when you've got this approximate colours, sometimes you can perhaps map them in different areas. You don't have to follow any particular order. if you've got an approximate colour that you can use somewhere else, and you can do that. And I've got the roof line here. Got two buildings here, which one behind the other, so I've got to try and allow us to separate so you can see the two buildings. There's one here. Which is slightly behind, so I'm going to draw the line there for the roof. They've got different line there. Now I need to get some greyish colours going for this roof here. And as I said, the first colours I put in don't necessarily represent what I will leave it at. For instance, this I've got rather dark. This is a grey roof there, slated roof, which comes down a little bit there, I can see. Different forms, and so we raise it up a little bit. The front of that house. Actually, I'm just calling these houses, I think they're old mill buildings. And the front of these is a sort of yellowy colour, so I think I'll get on to that. And when you start out a painting, you want to say to yourself, what do I really like about this? What's my objective? And if I say that to myself now, I can see that I want to capture this, the light of one of these buildings here. Yes, I can see now where I need. Down here was light. So I'm using some Naples yellow now to reflect this section of this old mill. Try and keep my brush clean, not contaminate it by disturbing any of the underpainting. Need some darker colours here. going to go with a bit of ochre, mixed with a bit of cadmium yellow. Yes, let's go with that. I need to get this a little more yellow actually. Let's clean my brush off a bit. Let's get a bit more yellow in there. Right, and also this is going to be a little bit darker. This building, and it'll start to make a bit of sense when we put some windows in. A bit of wall along here, which is showing nice yellow, so I'll use some of cadmium yellow again. Give me a bit of wall there. I'm going to put some nice greens over there shortly, but actually when I've got some mixture of yellows and a little bit of green, let's just scrub in here something, see what we can get. But I want to keep that fairly light, so I'm going to put some yellows in there shortly. And I've got to get reflections down here in the river of these buildings. Of course, that's very important, really. I need to shadow them down like this a little bit. Get little streaks of yellow as well. See, I'm dodging around on my painting. Some people are very organized, they go from left to right and top to bottom, but artists vary in the way they work, and there's no right or wrong. It's what it catches your eye, that's probably the good idea when to do it. It is from me anyway. Don't want to miss when I spot it what I need to do. Now, let's there's I think I need to get some different colors in here. I think this is a very red building there, so gotta see what I can do to bring that in. That's it. There's a couple of, and I've got to get the bridge in as well, which is a glorious brick colour. So I'm going to use some cadmium red, some ochre, and let's go for it. It's a lovely bridge, actually. I'll put a bit of lighter elements in it as well to make it interesting. Put a bit of a bit more cadmium, I think. Need to darken this down, a little bit of umber as well. I think it's looking all a bit too pink. So and just under here we need to put some dark elements, so just touch it down with my brush there. I've got another dark element here as well. And so clean off my brush, and we've got dark in here as well, so you can just touch it with your sharp edge. Just lay it down gently with your because we're wet on wet, can be a problem, or trickier I should say. I'm going to put a bit of Payne's grey with that. That's it. And then we'll put some windows along this, but let's not go into that in a moment. Let's try and firm up on some of these elements here. Some texture and some windows. deal with that in a minute. Let's use some, get some nice yellow going. This was lovely, this tree here. Golden yellows, so I use some Naples yellow. Right. I think I ought to I need some more yellow below this here. Getting some sunshine there. And I need to get some reds as well to reflect this bit of this building is coming down, is reflecting here. So I'm going to make sure it's in line. We'll soften up these edges a little bit later, but I think I could raise the bridge up a little bit. Make a bit more of it. And behind I've got some, I think that needs to be a bit yellowy. Yes, these are again, we'll put some windows in a little bit later. Right. Yes, we need to put windows in, and it will start to read as buildings. And also along the front of this. Yes, I think I need to bring this down actually. Light colour under here too, catching a walkway. Right, that's actually tree needs to come across quite a bit actually. Yes, of course we've got a willow here. I need to do that with a different brush, I think. Soften these edges as they come over the darks. Anyway, let's put in the sky, I think. It's time we had the sky in. Actually, well, I've got some green. There's greens that we see over here. And do we see some even there? Under the bridge, I think. We'll clean up on the bridge a bit later. We've got to put some boughs in as well. Some trunks, trees. We can put some light green as well. Let's get some nice greens. There's a little bit of light green coming over there. And on the tops of our shrubs here. And also green here over this building. The more you look, the more you'll see. And in the front of this building here, we have green going up the side there. But it's perhaps time I put in some sky. See if we can make some sense of that. Yes, let's go with some sky. So I can get to see some of the values. So clean off my brush and go with some titanium white and some cerulean. And there's some really quite nice clouds here actually. So I'm going to just map in this. I'm going to put some ultramarine as well, but I'll take that down a little bit in a moment with some titanium. Clouds are very rarely bright white. Yeah, they're always tinged by the atmosphere and their different light, the angle of the light. I'm going to put in some purples here in a moment. A little bit of violet anyway, I should say. Let's put them. I'm going to put a bit more liquid into my mix here, help it flow a little bit better off my brush. Yes, we've got to do those chimneys as well. There we go there. Let's get more white, and then we'll drop some nice purple into it, or violet. I'm going to come back to that tree a little bit later. Let's get a bit of violet going in there. Over here. Yes, that'll do it. Just the merest hint of colour. Let's go more blue. More violet. I've got to get that structure on top of that mill in a minute as well. I'll be doing that. Right. I can see there's quite a mass actually of cloud with a purple hue to it coming in this direction. So that's a bit fierce at the moment, but when I've got some nice chunk of titanium white in it, that will go a lot. Yes, that's it. So I can do that chimney later. Make that a lot more accurate. We'll cut that building back a little bit there. I need a little bit of, do a little bit under here, under the bridge. Light colours. And we need to get some of this shadowed area into the water there. So just clean my brush off a little bit, and I can see it's a sort of reddy purpley colour actually. Put a bit of umber with that purple, I think. Tone it back with a bit of brown, because we want to reflect this reflection here. And it comes out here. And we've got red over here as well. Reflecting that building, coming down. I need to darken up re-establish our bridge a little bit. I don't think it's the right colour yet. A lot of painting is push and pull. It doesn't look right, you re-establish it. There we go. A bit darker. So it stands out a bit better. This is darker here. Let's get some Payne's grey again. Establish some of my darks. It's just not working at the moment. That's better. We can put some vegetation in that far bank there as we go. And this bank is not reading so well. That's better. I'm going to put a bit more dark in. The eye has to be let in. Don't forget, we've got to put the windows in too. This willow tree here, I need to pop that in a moment. I'll cut in a little bit. I've got to put the boughs in as well. Some windows in these buildings as well. One here. And a lot down this side as well. Let's get some more liquid on this. My dark colours help the paint flow off my brush. As I say, it's wet on wet. It can be a little tricky to get your... So I'm using with a big brush because I want to be fairly loose with it. Yes, that's starting to work. Not coming off there. There's my completed painting of this old canal and mill. It's, as I say, it's only an impressionistic painting. It's not photo accurate, but it's I try to keep the essence of the shapes of the buildings and the light on that left-hand side with the sunshine coming there and reflections on the water. I could probably spend more time on going into the fine details of it, which I may do, but all in all I'm reasonably happy with it. But anyway, if you like it and if you've got any comments, please touch the like button and subscribe and make a comment. It'd be very interesting to see if you have tackled something like this yourselves and how you got on. So thanks for watching.